NHL regular season recap, night 182, the halfway mark of the year and the penultimate regular season recap of this entire season. Only 4 games tonight, none of them meaning too much standings-wise, but a big game at the end of the night here for one organization in particular. Kicking things off, though, the Leafs taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. 2 guys, individuals, chasing some milestones here. Nikita Kucherov trying to track down his 100th assist of the year, and Austin Matthews, of course, chasing down the elusive 70 goals. One of those 2 guys would get their trophy, per se, today. Nick Paul, Nikita Kucherov, and Ryan Reeves all scoring in the first. No Kucherov assists, obviously not assisting on his own goal. 2-1 Bolts after one. They extend their lead to 5-1 in the second period, and on that 4th goal by Braden Point, it's Darren Radish and Nikita Kucherov both assisting on a power play goal, making it 100 assists for Nikita Kucherov, and I believe 143 points, if my math's correct. A very good case for the Hart Trophy for that young man. Brendan Hagel, Anthony Duclair are the other 2 goal scorers in the second. In the third, Tanner Jeannot makes it a 6-1 game. The Leafs wake up a little bit. TJ Brody, Pontus Holmberg, and John Tavares all scoring. No 70th goal for Austin Matthews, and it's a 6-4 final for the Bolts. A game that really doesn't mean a lot for either of these 2 teams, just trying to get their 2 guys up to those milestones. The Bolts successful in getting the 2 points and getting the milestone for Kucherov. Jones got the start for the Leafs. He was not great, 26 of 32 for an .812 save percentage, and Matt Tompkins, one of the rare games he's gotten this year, but he was pretty solid, I thought. 34 of 38 for an .895, and he faced a lot of Austin Matthews shots tonight, able to keep it tight for his team. 6-4 is the final here for Tampa. The Islanders taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins, a game that could have meant a ton had things fallen the right way yesterday, but no dice here. By this point, the Penguins eliminated from the playoffs coming into this game, and the Islanders locked into that 3rd Metro Division spot. So this game, kind of just for the sake of bragging rights and making sure no one gets injured and continues to play well. Brock Nelson and Ricard Raquel trading goals in the first. More trading of goals in the second. It's Malkin, Cizikas, Puustinen, and Palmieri. So we're 3-3 after 2. And then Bolduc, Carter, and Holmstrom all scoring in the third. Carter tying the game a little over the halfway point, and Simone Holmstrom scoring with just over 5 to go to make it a 5-4 victory for the Islanders. Nedeljkovic didn't have a great night, 27 of 32 and .844, while Sorokin looks to be ready to go for the playoffs, 40 of 44 for a .909, though whether or not he's the goalie they put in Game 1, TBD. It's going to be an interesting decision to come from Patrick Waugh. The real story of this game that I did not realize leading up to it, this is Jeff Carter's final game in the NHL. He goes out with a goal, thankfully, but kind of a weird retirement. One of the bigger names, aside from Bergeron, for me, that I grew up watching. So good to see him end on a good-ish note, at least scoring. Would have liked to see him make one more playoff run. It was cool to see Jonathan Quick in attendance for this game, but one of those big-name guys from, us late 90s kids' childhoods that we grew up watching. So congrats to him on a great career and a hopefully very happy retirement for the Islanders. They get one more win headed into the playoffs. It's 5-4 as the final over Pittsburgh. The Stars hosting the St. Louis Blues, the final game of the year here for St. Louis, and of course for the Stars trying to gear up and stay healthy for the playoff run, and what better way to do that than with keeping Jake Ottinger busy with a nice little goalie battle between him and Jordan Binnington. Both of these guys only giving up 1 goal in regulation and overtime. It ends up being a 2-1 shootout win for Dallas. Robert Thomas scoring in the second, Mason Marchment in the third. They're 26th and 22nd of the year, respectively. And then in the shootout, Jason Robertson, the lone goal scorer to get one past Jordan Binnington, is all it ended up taking. Binner, 36 of 37 for a .973. It would have been weird to see what this guy could have done in the playoffs. Of course, the Blues going to have that argument over the East teams that they maybe deserve to be in, but it is what it is. We always have one of those teams on one conference or the other. Dallas, of course, Jake Ottinger, 25 of 26 for a .962. He will for sure be the goalie for Dallas in Game 1, and we'll see whether or not he can find the Jake Ottinger of old playoffs against Calgary a couple years back, or if it's a little bit more hit or miss like it was last year. But regardless, Dallas wins 2-1. They lock up the number 1 spot in the Western Conference. We'll see whether they take on Vegas or the Los Angeles Kings tomorrow night, based on how those 2 games go. But for tonight, they get a few more points to wrap up their season, 2-1 over St. Louis. The final game of the night here, the Coyotes hosting the Edmonton Oilers, a game that meant absolutely nothing for the purposes of standings and playoff implications, but meant everything to the players, the fans, the staff, etc. The list goes on. It ends up being a win for Arizona, which was fantastic. O'Brien and Carrick in the first, Michelli in the second, and then they turn it on in the third. It's Krause, Fogle, Gunther, and Sean Dursey scores the final goal for the Arizona Coyotes. It's a 5-2 win over Edmonton, and as I'm recording this, the kind of end of organization, I guess, celebration is still going on the TV here. Lots of tears flowing, some great stuff from the staff, trying to keep it as light as they can. But it's a hard moment, man. This is an organization that's been around for 20 plus years, and some great players have come through it. It's weird to see it come to an end, but glad to see them do it on a high note. Glad they get it done over Edmonton here. 5-2 is the final, and that is it for NHL regular season recap night 182. We only got one more of these things left, and then it's on to playoff recaps, which is going to be awesome. But weird that we're already here. 182 days flew by like that, so hopefully you guys are ready for one more and then are geared up for the playoffs starting Saturday. We'll talk to you tomorrow.